The call came at 3:17 a.m. David's phone illuminated the darkness of his apartment as he fumbled to answer it, his mind still clouded with sleep. The voice on the other end was clinical, professional, a doctor from Memorial Hospital. They were calling about Eliza. His Eliza. The woman who had disappeared from his life 6 months ago without a word. She's been in an accident. You're listed as her emergency contact. She has 2 hours before we need to make a decision. Can you come? If you're feeling the tension already, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end. David's hands trembled as he gripped the steering wheel. Rain pelted his windshield, matching the storm of emotions raging inside him. 6 months of silence. 6 months of wondering why she left. 6 months of anger, confusion, and heartache, and now this. The memory of their last night together played in his mind like a broken record. They had argued, about what, he could barely remember now. Something trivial that had escalated into screaming, into words they couldn't take back. He had gone to bed alone, and when he woke up, she was gone. No note. No explanation. Just emptiness where her clothes had been, where her smile had brightened their home. He had called her friends, her workplace, even her estranged mother. No one knew where she had gone, or if they did, they weren't telling him. Eventually, he had stopped searching, convinced himself that she had made her choice. That whatever they had shared hadn't been enough. The hospital loomed ahead, its windows glowing against the night sky. David parked haphazardly and ran through the rain, his heart pounding against his ribs. The emergency room was a blur of fluorescent lights and antiseptic smells as he approached the reception desk. "I'm here for Eliza Chen," he said, his voice cracking. "I got a call." "Mr. Reynolds?" A doctor appeared beside him, clipboard in hand. "I'm Dr. Patel. Thank you for coming so quickly." "What happened?" "Is she—" David couldn't finish the sentence. "Ms. Chen was in a serious car accident. She has internal bleeding and needs surgery immediately, but there are complications." Dr. Patel's eyes were kind but grave. "She has a rare blood type, and we're running critically low on supplies. We need a family member's consent for an experimental procedure." "I'm not family," David said, the words bitter on his tongue. "We were. I don't know what we were anymore." "You're listed as her medical proxy." "She never changed it." Dr. Patel handed him a form. "We need your decision within the next hour and 40 minutes. The surgery is risky, but without it." David stared at the form, the medical terminology swimming before his eyes. How could he make this decision? How could he hold Eliza's life in his hands when she had chosen to remove him from hers? "Can I see her?" he asked. Dr. Patel nodded. "Briefly. She's unconscious, but sometimes that helps with the decision." Eliza looked small in the hospital bed, tubes and wires connecting her to machines that beeped and hummed. Her face was pale, a large bruise blooming across her left cheek. David approached slowly, afraid that even his presence might somehow hurt her more. He sat in the chair beside her bed, watching the rise and fall of her chest. She was alive. Despite everything, relief flooded through him at that simple fact. "Why did you leave?" he whispered, knowing she couldn't answer. "Why am I still your emergency contact? Why am I the one who has to decide?" His eyes fell on her hand, resting on the white hospital blanket. No ring. He had been planning to propose the weekend after she disappeared. The ring was still in his dresser drawer, a reminder of dreams that had shattered. A nurse entered, checking Eliza's vitals. "Are you David?" she asked. He nodded, surprised. "She has a journal in her personal effects." She was asking for it before she lost consciousness, saying something about making sure David saw it. The nurse hesitated. "I'm not supposed to, but, would you like to see it?" David's throat tightened. "Yes. Please." The nurse returned moments later with a worn leather notebook. "I'll give you some privacy," she said, closing the door behind her. David stared at the journal, his hands shaking again. This was an invasion of privacy, wasn't it? But she had asked for him to see it. Taking a deep breath, he opened it to the first page. April 15th. I left David today. I couldn't bear to see his face when I told him. The doctor says I have maybe a year, maybe less. The treatment might give me more time, but the side effects. I'd be a burden. David deserves better than watching someone he loves wither away. He deserves a full life, not one cut short by my illness. So I'm setting him free the only way I know how. Clean break. No looking back, asterisk. David's vision blurred with tears as he flipped through the pages. Entry after entry detailed Eliza's battle with a rare form of cancer, her experimental treatments, her good days and bad. And throughout it all, her thoughts of him. June 3 RD. I saw David today. He didn't see me. He was at our favorite coffee shop, sitting alone, reading that science fiction novel I got him for Christmas. He looked tired. I almost went to him. Almost. But what would I say? Sorry I disappeared, I'm dying and didn't want you to watch. It would be selfish to go back now, to make him care for me when there's no future for us, asterisk. July 28th. The new treatment is working better than expected. Dr. Patel says I might have more time than we thought. I dream about going back to David, telling him everything. But it's been months. He's probably moved on. It's better this way. I have to believe that, asterisk. The most recent entry was dated just yesterday. October 29th. I'm going to tell him. I've decided. The treatments are working, and Dr. Patel says there's reason for cautious optimism. I can't keep living half a life, missing the other half of my heart. Tomorrow, I'm going to drive to our old apartment and hope he still lives there. Hope he'll listen. Hope he can forgive me for trying to protect him in the worst possible way, asterisk. David closed the journal, tears streaming down his face. She hadn't left because she didn't love him. She had left because she did. He looked at her unconscious form, seeing her now through new eyes. The weight loss he had attributed to stress. The fatigue she had blamed on work. The doctor's appointments she had been vague about. It all made sense now. Dr. Patel returned, his expression questioning. Have you made a decision, Mr. Reynolds? David stood, wiping his eyes. Do the surgery. Whatever it takes. And I want to donate blood, test me for compatibility. That's not necessary. Please, David insisted. I need to do something. I need to help her. Dr. Patel nodded. I'll send a nurse to take your blood. And Mr. Reynolds? The fact that she kept you as her emergency contact, that says something. The next hours were the longest of David's life. He paced the waiting room, called in sick to work, and prayed to a God he wasn't sure he believed in. When Dr. Patel finally emerged, his surgical mask hanging around his neck, David couldn't breathe. She made it through the surgery, Dr. Patel said, and David's knees nearly buckled with relief. It was touch and go, but she's stable. Your blood type was a match, by the way. That helped. When can I see her? She'll be unconscious for a while, but you can sit with her if you'd like. David nodded, unable to speak through the lump in his throat. Eliza's room was quiet except for the steady beep of monitors. David sat beside her bed, holding her hand gently, mindful of the four. I read your journal, he said softly. I understand why you left. I don't agree with it, but I understand. He squeezed her hand. You don't get to decide what's too much for me, Eliza. That's my choice. And I choose you. In sickness and in health, isn't that what people say? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small velvet box. "I've been carrying this around for 6 months. Couldn't bring myself to put it away." He opened it, revealing a simple diamond ring. "I was going to ask you that weekend. I had it all planned out." David placed the box on the bedside table. "No pressure. But when you wake up, we have a lot to talk about. And I'm not going anywhere." 3 days later, Eliza opened her eyes. It took her a moment to register where she was, and another to realize she wasn't alone. David was asleep in the chair beside her bed, his hand still holding hers, his head tilted at an uncomfortable angle. "David?" Her voice was barely a whisper, rough from disuse. His eyes flew open. "Eliza? You're awake." He leaned forward, joy and concern battling on his face. "How do you feel?" "Like I got hit by a truck," she said, attempting a smile. It was actually a delivery van. Ran a red light. His thumb stroked the back of her hand. "You scared me." Eliza's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, David. Not just for the accident. For leaving. For not telling you the truth." "I know," he said gently. "I read your journal. The doctor called me, I'm still your emergency contact." "I never changed it," she admitted. "I couldn't. Why didn't you tell me you were sick? Did you really think I'd walk away?" Eliza turned her face away. "I thought it would be easier for you if I just disappeared. Clean break. No watching me die slowly." "Nothing about the last 6 months has been easy," David said, his voice breaking. "Nothing about loving someone means it's always easy. But it's always worth it." He reached for the velvet box on the nightstand. "I had this whole speech prepared 6 months ago. About how you make me laugh, how you challenge me, how I want to build a life with you. It's all still true." Eliza stared at the ring, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. "David, you don't have to." "I'm not asking you right now," he said, closing the box. "You need to focus on getting better. And we need to rebuild what we had, what we still have. But I want you to know that this is waiting. I'm waiting. However long it takes. The cancer. We'll face it together," David said firmly. "Dr. Patel told me about the new treatment. He's optimistic, Eliza. And even if he wasn't, even if we only had a short time, I'd rather spend it with you than spend a lifetime wondering where you are and if you're okay." Eliza's hand tightened around his. "I was coming to find you. The day of the accident. I was coming to tell you everything." "I know," David said, bringing her hand to his lips. "And now you have." 6 months later, Eliza sat in Dr. Patel's office, David beside her, as they waited for her latest test results. The past months had been a roller coaster of treatments, side effects, good days and bad. But through it all, they had been together. Dr. Patel entered with a smile that told them everything before he even spoke. "The treatment is working better than we hoped. The tumors have shrunk significantly. It's not a cure, but it's time," Eliza finished, squeezing David's hand. That evening, as the sun set over the city, they stood on the rooftop garden of their new apartment building. Fairy lights twinkled around them, and a small table was set with dinner for 2. "This feels familiar," Eliza said, smiling as David pulled out her chair. "It should. It's exactly what I planned 6 months ago." He sat across from her, his eyes never leaving hers. "Except now, I appreciate it even more." After dinner, as they stood looking out at the city lights, David took her hand. "I had a whole new speech prepared," he said. "About how these past months have shown me how strong you are, how precious every day is. But I think I'll keep it simple." He knelt down, pulling the familiar velvet box from his pocket. "Eliza Chen, I love you. In sickness and in health. For however long we have. Will you marry me? Eliza's smile was radiant through her tears. Yes, she said. For however long we have. As David slipped the ring onto her finger, she added, and David? The doctors think it might be a very long time. Their wedding was small, just close friends and family in the hospital chapel where Dr. Patel served as best man. Eliza's hair was growing back, a soft fuzz that David said made her look like a dandelion wish. She wore a simple white dress and carried forget-me-nots. I promise to never run away again, she said in her vows. To face whatever comes together. And I promise to always come find you, David replied. No matter how far you go. Life isn't a fairy tale. Eliza's cancer didn't magically disappear. There were still hard days, hospital visits, fears that kept them awake at night. But there were also mornings waking up together, weekend trips to the beach, quiet evenings reading side by side. 2 years after the accident, they sat in Dr. Patel's office again. This time, he used the word remission for the first time. It doesn't mean it's gone forever, he cautioned. But it means you get to live your life, Eliza. Both of you. That night, they made plans. Not cautious, tentative plans, but real ones. A trip to Japan. Graduate school for Eliza. Maybe, someday, children. I still can't believe you came that night, Eliza said as they lay in bed, her head on David's chest. After everything I put you through. The hospital called the man you ran from, David said simply. And he came running back to you. That's what love is. Eliza lifted her head to look at him. I used to think love was protecting someone from pain, even if it meant causing it yourself. And now? Now I know it's facing the pain together. It's having someone to hold your hand in the darkness. David kissed her softly. For however long we have. Eliza smiled against his lips. Which, it turns out, might be a very long time indeed. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of human connection and the power of second chances. Remember that sometimes, the people we push away are the very ones who will stand by us through our darkest hours. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that message today.